these four incredible women are going to really help us with this, what I'm referring to as our opening ceremony. And they're going to help all of us connect deeper in with the soul of our business before we dive deep in with the juiciness this afternoon with all of our incredible speakers and really dive into business. That being said, there is a reason why we are devoting this particular session to this, and it's because this is how I believe a soulpreneur is best to start their day anyway, with really sitting in with the soul of their business. And while it might seem, and like you guys, quite often for me, when I'm really, really busy, is when I go, I didn't have time for my oracle cards this morning. I don't have time for my meditation this morning or my oils practice or whatever. I got to dive straight into business. And of course, those are the times that we need it the most, right? Because otherwise we get to the end of the day and we're like, I just did a whole lot of crap that I didn't need to, that was just so unaligned. Tomorrow I'm just going to have to fix up this mess that I've made by doing all this stuff that's not even aligned with me, and, and a key thing I'd love for you guys to adopt this weekend is, I know that the word hustle is very popular and trendy right now, but I would love for you to consider replacing the word hustle with presence and play and productiveness. And what I believe is that when we are present and playful with the soul of our business, the productiveness comes anyways. And you're going to get just as much, if not more, work done with then having the approach of, I'm going to hustle today, and I'm going to... So that's something that I would love for everyone to think about. Now, over to these amazing women. Julie. Julie Parker. Oh my gosh. And you know what? Julie Parker was the MC in this role at our very first Soulpreneur events 5 years ago.
Special night.
Oh my gosh. Very, very special. Which Sarah attended without yet having any business or any idea about what she was going to be doing.
Yeah.
And that's how Sarah and I became friends. Yeah, we'll talk about that after. Julie Parker, so I know that you guys all know who Julie is, but I'm going to read this anyway. Julie Parker is the founder of the Beautiful You Coaching Academy, where she passionately trains heart-centered people to become life coaches. She is also the co-founder of the Priestess Temple School, a modern-day mystery school for women wishing to train to become priestesses. Julie is the editor-in-chief of Inspired Coach magazine, an author, podcast host, and in-demand speaker, and has inspired thousands of people on stages all over the world. As a modern-day priestess, Julie is committed to contributing to a world where qualities of intuition, presence, nurturing, spiritual exploration, social justice, and service are honoured. She is currently undertaking intensive trainings to become a priestess of the Magdalene, and she holds sacred circles in honour of the goddess and Wheel of the Year regularly. Julie lives in Melbourne with her husband, stepdaughter, and two much-loved and Instagrammed adopted cats. I added the Instagrammed bit in. Welcome, Julie. One more round.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.
Sora. Sora is a sacred space holder, strategy alchemist, transformative business coach, international retreat leader, inspirational speaker, fire igniter, heart whisperer, and world traveller. She is also the co-founder with Julie of Priestess Temple School. She works with sovereign, awakened women entrepreneurs to incorporate the art of feeling sacred into their business through rituals, ceremonies, and the divine feminine. Sora loves to sit in ceremony with sisters and share the art of holding circle. She's a believer of sisterhood and living a life that is wild, free, and calm. Oh, makes me feel calm just from reading this bio.
Thank you, everyone.
Mm-hmm. Shunanda. Now, all of our Soulpreneur students know Shunanda very, very well. Oh, we were getting a little bit of the angels were really getting excited. So, Shunanda, I met Shunanda when she walked into a Soulpreneurs circle in Sydney that I was hosting for our first round of Soulpreneurs students. So Shunanda was a student of the course. I would have never met her, well, you know, may not have met her any other way. Shunanda has since become a very dear friend of mine, a collaborator, a business partner, but most importantly, really one of my go-tos when I need to check in with myself on, is this decision really, is this my soul speaking or is this something else? And she's just brilliant at that, and she's not only helped me but also, you know, hundreds of our Soulpreneurs students with the same. And I am so proud because this is the first time that Shunanda has spoken to more than maybe 20 people at once. So I pretty much said everything but the official thing is that Shunanda is a clairvoyant, a psychic and medium. She can speak with people who have crossed over to the light, and she can see and speak with angels. She can feel the energy in any space and the emotions of people in that space. In fact, this is her strongest ability. It's called clairsentience and is often referred to as being an empath. Now, Shunanda, not only have I worked a lot with Shunanda, been on the receiving end of a lot of Shunanda's amazing work, but so have some of our other speakers, including Tara and Rach, who can absolutely, you know, vouch for, I love you and I'm so excited and I'm so proud to have Shunanda. When I first said to Shunanda, I want you to be speaking on this stage with me. And she's like, oh, fuck. Which Shunanda says a lot to me because I'm always pushing her way out of her comfort zone and she always just flies.
That's true.
So now Sarah, my sister, So Sarah, I'll read this first. Sarah Wilder is the creative soulpreneur and boss goddess behind the Fifth Element Life, a conscious brand connecting body, mind and spirit through symbolic and sacred talismans and tools, and home of the ever-popular mandala talisman ranges that you'll probably see lots of people wearing here today, and we'll talk more about that later. Sarah combines her love of nature and design to intuitively create symbolic talismans, tools and teachings for reconnection, which help focus the mind and reconnect people to their true nature. So one of the other things is, and we'll do this a bit later, a lot of you guys love this animal kin deck, and Sarah is the creator of this animal kin deck that every time I post on anything on social media of this deck, I get about 10 DMs going, where do I get this deck from? So no matter how many times I post about Sarah, I still get the questions about where do I get it from. So it's all her. Sarah, just like you guys, was... Actually, I'll let you just share just quickly.
I just moved back to Brisbane from Sydney. I was a new mum, so I think my son Billy was probably 6 months old. And I had the idea to start this business before I gave birth to him. But it was a timing thing because I knew I'd become a new mother and I wouldn't have time to also run a business. So it was kind of like planted the seed, closed the door on that, and then focused on my motherhood journey. And then once I came out of that sort of baby bubble to around the 6-month mark, I started looking out for my first step, basically. And I think I followed, I don't know who it was, maybe you, Rach, and saw the Soulpreneurs event that you had, your very first one. And so, I just bought a ticket and rocked up, didn't know anyone. But, like probably a lot of you would experience today is like you just feel like you found your people. It's like, where have these people been in my life? None of my friends sort of got this whole like spiritual business, entrepreneurial kind of, doing your own, paving your own way kind of vibe. And I never felt like working in jobs for other people was my thing. And I always felt like there was something more. And like you, I had 20 jobs before, I knew I still didn't know what I wanted to do, but I just kept chopping and changing because I was always chopping and changing myself, trying to find my groove. And it wasn't until obviously I realised that I had to work for myself and create something that would chop and change with me, and I didn't have to start over all the time and work for people and have them tell me how to live my life. So I attended the event, and that was just like bing, and everything just unfolded organically from there.
And an example of what I was saying about connecting with people, approaching people, is that Sarah sent me an email after she attended that event. So we didn't actually meet at the event. So this was 5 years ago. We didn't actually meet at the event, but she sent me an email, I don't know, maybe a few months afterwards saying, "Hi, I'm Sarah. I attended your Soulpreneurs event in Brisbane. It was amazing. I've got all of these ideas, but I don't really know where to start. Is there any way that but I really love what you're doing, and I love your vision, and I love your community, and is there any way that like you're maybe looking for people that maybe I could be an assistant or something for you?" And I was like, "Oh, who is this girl?" And I think it sent me some artwork or something, and I saw it and I was floored, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." And I said to Sarah, "I don't have any positions right now, but I don't actually think that's what we're meant to do together. I don't think I'm meant to employ you. I think we're supposed to work together. I don't know what that means, but
I'll create something for you soon." So
yeah, I was like, I just know.
Yeah.
And you'll have that this weekend, that there'll be people that you'll connect with or speakers on stage that you'll be like, "Oh, there's something there. I don't know what it is, but I know there's something there. It might just not be right now. It might be down the track." And Sarah and I just stayed in contact, and one thing just went from another. And then Sarah moved near where I was living at the time, and then we started hanging out. And Sarah was actually one of the main people that I started brainstorming this Soulpreneurs course or something with. It was like, I don't know, but I know that there's something more that I need to do than just those events. And along the way, and then I traded with Sarah. This is when our businesses still had no money. And I traded Sarah business mentoring. So I started mentoring Sarah, and she started helping me with art and design and branding. And we just kind of did it as a nice trade.
Yep.
And we've collaborated on lots of different things since, including something that we're launching today. But it just goes to show, like, and when Sarah emailed me that time, and in all of our contact along that time, it didn't feel like she was trying to grab from me or take from me or what can you do for me kind of thing. It felt like she really was wanting to just come in and
I think
co-create.
I wanted to send you the artwork or something just anyway, because I was like, I love what you're doing. This is totally your vibe, the thing that I've created. I just want to gift it to you.
Yeah.
And then I think you received it, and then it was like, oh, also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was just like we just knew that we were connected in some weird way.
Yeah. Yeah. And energetically, I just felt like I just knew that you just, even though you didn't have your business yet and all that, I just knew that there was something really special in you, and which was the same experience with Shunanda. I met Sora and Julie much later in their businesses. So, but yeah, you just know, and that's the thing. Like you guys, we would have never thought back then when we were struggling to like pay for our organic coffee or whatever, while we're sitting there brainstorming all these things, that we would be on a stage like this with you guys in this way. And it makes it all the more sweeter when you've been through that experience together. So you guys just never know who you're going to be meeting this weekend and collaborating with in that way. It's really special. So in the morning, when you start your day, tell me, how many of you have a spiritual practice that you actually bring into the beginning of your workday? Can you just raise your hands? I know the Soulpreneur students are like, I should raise my hands because I've been saying for 2 years that I'm doing it. And it's totally okay. It's not always every day. It's not always every day for me. Sometimes it's just, oh God, it's just not, is it? Sometimes it's so bad and it's just like laptop in the bed before even getting out of bed and all that stuff. I would love to dive a little bit deeper into helping you connect in with your angels, and I can't think of anyone more amazing and gifted at that than Shunanda. So Shunanda is going to so kindly lead us through a really, really special exercise, meditation, visualization. So if we can have the lights dimmed and that track for Shunanda playing.
Thanks, Yvette. Hi, everyone. I'd invite you all to get comfortable in your seats. Start to slow your breathing. And when you're ready, close your eyes. Feel your body soften as you let your energy drop. As you let go of everything that it's taken for you to bring yourself here this weekend. Breathing slowly in through your nose, feeling your belly rise. Begin to feel your feet on the floor and your body get heavier. As you breathe and let go. We're going to invite Archangel Michael into the room, and I'd ask you now to welcome him into your own energy field. Archangel Michael is the Archangel for lightworkers, and he's very present here this weekend. You may feel goosebumps as you welcome him to support you, to guide you through this meditation, and to help you connect with your lightworker purpose this weekend. Invite Archangel Michael to surround you in a beautiful bubble of royal blue, and ask him to give you clear guidance for the next steps of your purpose, for your business. I invite you now to imagine a beautiful cord of energy running up and down your spine. This cord of energy connects up out of your crown chakra, up to source, to your own angels, to the archangels. And this cord of energy also connects you to Mother Earth. And as you breathe slowly in your mind, I invite you to visualize sending this beautiful white electric cord of energy deep down into the earth beneath you. Imagine this cord and send it 3 feet down into the earth. And then visualize it going further, 6 feet down and 12 feet down. And as you continue to send this beautiful cord of energy deep into the earth, you feel your body anchor and soften and feel heavier. Continue to send this beautiful cord of energy deeper and deeper. In fact, you're going to let this cord travel all the way to the very center of the earth, grounding you and connecting you. In your mind now, see this cord branch out like tree roots, like lightning, and feel how held and supported and anchored you are by Mother Earth. And as you let this feeling wash over you in your mind, before you see a flickering light, a small flame in the distance. Allow your heart chakra to connect to this flame as it grows and travels towards you. You feel love emanating from this flame as it grows in size. And as it comes towards you, you begin to discern the shape of an aura, a brilliant white, orange, soft pink and green as it comes closer towards you and grows even larger in size. You feel nothing but pure love coming from this beautiful aura in front of you. Your heart chakra is expanding to receive this love. And you know that standing before you is the energy and aura of Lady Gaia herself. Lady Gaia stands before you and reaches out and touches your heart chakra with her energy. And as she does so, you feel nothing but love overwhelm you. And you know that she has just welcomed you to Earth as a light worker and activated your light worker purpose. With every part of your being, you know that you are supported by her through your entire lightworker career. That she will provide in every way for all of your earthly needs, all of your abundance, everything that you need to support yourself to step into your purpose and your path that you were destined to come here to do. You know that you need never worry about any of your earthly goods. Behind you, you feel the presence of your own divine support team, your own spiritual board of directors. And as that Lady Gaia steps back with love in her heart, I now ask you to slowly turn around in your mind and see who stands to support you through your career as a light worker. You may see Archangel Michael. You may see Mother Mary, Princess Diana. She's on my own support team. You may see a loved one in spirit, a family member who you know has always been with you. Or you may see somebody or a light being or angel who you have yet to work with. Whatever you see, whoever you see, whatever you feel, you are safe and loved and supported. Let your heart open to the love that surrounds you and know that you will never be alone, that you can call on these beautiful beings, on all this love and support at every single step of your journey for all of the guidance that you require. And now slowly, I ask you to bring your energy very gently back into your body. Begin to move. Perhaps let your feet wiggle on the floor. Perhaps move your arms a little bit. And if you want to, just take a moment to open your eyes gently and stretch. And if there was a really special message or person or light being who came to you, please take a moment to jot that down in your journal so that you can remember this moving forward. And thank you very much.
And if you do happen to have some oils with you and you have frankincense is...
Yeah, absolutely. The oil of truth, and really is one that I use to connect in for any channeling work that I do, any meditation work that I do, to really help me feel really anchored and supported by my own divine support team, and to allow myself to trust my journey and my truth.
Absolutely. And something that Shunanda and I have talked about a lot in the past is frankincense being a great oil to use when connecting with Archangel Michael. And I particularly love to do that to connect in with divine masculine support in my business. I kind of see Archangel Michael as like the dude who's just going to hold me in my truth and hold me in my purpose, but also just hold me and I guess be that rock. And frankincense essential oil is an oil that I also have that exact same relationship with. So that's something, it's another tool that you can use if you feel called to. Thank you so much, Shunanda.
It's my pleasure.
Going from, in many ways, the divine masculine, but we did, of course, include another Gaia in there. So then going into the beautiful feminine with Julie and Sora on, could you help share with us on how to connect in with the divine feminine of our business and our goddesses and...
Sure, my lovely ladies and brothers and sisters. May we take a moment, and after you finish journaling, can you place it down and actually stand? Let's move our bodies a little bit. If you don't mind, I'm just going to stand too for a sec. Mm-hmm. And the reason we're doing so to connect with the goddesses, we are here today and remembering that we are not here as solo beings only, that maybe you've been called in together to be part of a soul family. And the way we connect with the goddesses and the higher beings is really to actually firstly ground into the gratitude of Mother Earth, of Gaia, of Pachamama. And by doing that, too, we become really present, and then we can connect. And when we connect, we find this inner place of grace, of a true, beautiful, energetic imprint of grace. And when we feel grace, we feel the magnitude of ourselves as divine beings. And from that place, so much more can happen. That is when our high councils of beings can interact with us. And so, the crazy American is going to ask you to start focusing and experiencing loving touch with the entire group that is here in front of you. So the way I'm going to have you do that is you're going to scooch a little closer to your brothers and sisters that are near you. Don't worry, you don't need to touch them yet. Don't worry. Okay, if you're freaking the F out, no problem. It's going to be fine. And that's the other thing. We have a place of being really sacred and centered, and at the same time, we are in our human experience, so we play. The more we play, the more grace comes in through us. So as you scooched a little closer, I'm going to share with you some movement practices. And then we'll just scaffold it. I used to be a teacher, so we'll scaffold. Okay, take your right palm in front of you. Gorgeous. Take your left and place it together. The intention with this is you remembering the gratitude of yourself, your inner divine being, so grateful that you showed up today. You'll inhale and look up in honor of all those in your board members or high councils. Exhale, forehead to palm. In honor of Mother Earth and your ancestors, those who have come before you, as well as this land, this sacred, sacred land. Inhale, look up, and then exhale, you release. Think you got that? Yeah? Okay, let's try that one more time. Right hand, left together. Gratitude to you. Inhale, look up, gratitude to the above. Exhale, forward to palm, gratitude to below. Inhale, allow yourself to just gaze forward. Exhale, release. Now you wonder where the loving touch is, and you might think, well, maybe Sora forgot. I did not forget. Part 2. Find a sister or a brother, hopefully someone that you actually haven't connected with yet. Okay? Find someone, and if you are solo, don't worry, you still know how to do it by yourself, okay? So find a partner. You got this. It's all good. Excellent. And then once you have found your partner, it's all good because we'll do this just twice. Take a moment and just notice the energy in the room. Notice how all of a sudden there was a lot of blah, 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 blah. And the reason is because there's a lot of energy that's coursing through you and a lot of nerves around, oh my goodness, there's this random person in front of me, or maybe it's someone I know, but I haven't really touched them before, and what am I doing? Oh, fuck, right? It's all good. It's all good. Remember, we're all soul-centered beings, and just take a moment and notice how the energy can kind of go back within, feeling into that place. Now, look at your sister or brother in front of you and just scooch a little closer. And then just close your eyes so that it doesn't feel so uncomfortable.
I think there's a jug.
Great. As you settle in, if you don't have a partner, no problem. You know how to do this solo, so it's all good, and I'll direct you. Slowly open your eyes and take your right palm and actually hold or cup your sister's right palm or brother's right palm. Beautiful. And then left over theirs, holding. Inhale, look up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Exhale, forehead to your hands. Take a moment and just stay there. Grounding and feeling your feet. Fully embodying in your body so that you are present to this experience. Remembering that that is why you are here. Inhale, look up. And now give your brother or sister a big hug.
That was beautiful.
And then when you're ready, you may have a seat. And as you do, notice the feeling in your body, that feeling of love, that feeling of connection. And if we can just take that idea, that feeling, and remember and store it in our body, because that feeling of love, deep connection, of that beauty, that feeling of abundance of love, that is how we connect with the goddess.
Connecting with the goddess in our life and business is such a rich and adventurous and beautiful garden to play in. And once upon a time, a long time before the modern society and world that we're living in now, both women and men and children as well used to connect with the goddess on a very regular basis, every day. And sometimes on certain days, all day, every day. And the goddess was a beautiful being, a number of beings that was able to be used for inspiration and guidance and spiritual wisdom. And people would call upon her from all different cultures around the world. There are goddesses in Chinese culture, in Celtic cultures, Mayan cultures, Greek, Roman, and of course, Indigenous cultures as well. And over time, and I don't have time to give a truncated history of the world, but we lost our connection, our strong connection to the goddess, even though she's always been there. And when we hear somebody such as myself or Sora or anyone else talk about connecting with a particular goddess, it's not that all of a sudden she's just been found and we've decided, oh, let's resurrect her in some way. These goddesses from so many different walks of life have always been there. And the beautiful thing about connecting with the goddess, whether it's for life or business, and truth be told, I think all of you who are soulpreneurs here, a very significant portion of your heart goes into your business, which means it's very deeply connected to your life. You know, this is not a room full of people where business and life is something that's two separate things. It's deeply connected together. And the wonderful thing about the goddess is that she loves and accepts you in all of your shadow and darkness and all of your beauty and light as well. And this is something that to me makes her, Yvette, so very, very powerful to work with. And for anyone that's not worked with the goddess or goddesses before, if it's something that you want to start exploring, when you begin to do that, you'll be naturally attracted to those goddesses that really feel very aligned with who you are as a person. Because there are goddesses of love, sex, death, darkness, birth, marriage, fertility, and there are warriors and there are gentle goddesses and so many in between. So when I first started working with the goddess, I was deeply attracted to the goddesses of love. Lots of pink and sparkles, and because it's kind of me, a bit pink and sparkly. And all of those goddesses, Lakshmi, Aphrodite, Ostara, all the flower crown homegirls, that's where I felt really comfortable. Because they were a reflection in many different ways of myself. I love things that are beautiful, soft, feminine, gracious. But all of the dark death warrior goddesses, which my beautiful friend Sora here, they're her homegirls. They're not mine. And this is one of the reasons why we work so well together. And I just didn't want to have anything to do with those goddesses. But this comes with a little bit of a warning for you all, is that if you do choose to explore the power of the goddess in your business and your life, even though you may start out being very deeply attracted and devoted and working with those that shine most brightly in you, eventually those for you that are in shadow will call you if you keep going deeper with her. And that's what happened with the dark goddesses, the death goddesses, the warrior goddesses. And working with them has ended up for me being even more revelatory than working with those goddesses that I felt comfortable with. Because those goddesses that I just didn't really want to have anything to do with have helped me so deeply with my own ego, my shadow, the areas where I feel jealousy or comparison, bitterness, maybe small, feeling left out, or where I deeply question or wobble or shake in some ways. And we all have those parts of ourselves. And it's by actually consciously looking at those with those particular types of goddesses that has really helped me become and feel more whole. And they can help us in our business as well, because there are always certain aspects of our business that feel easeful to us, where we feel like things come easily. And there are then other parts that are like, can't I just pay someone to do that? Or I don't really want to do that, or that's not for me. And often I find, especially for new business owners, and I know you would have seen this as well, Yvette, when people say that's not for me, they're often talking about something that is for them, but convincing us that it's not. And one of those things is often shining or being in front of people in a situation like this. That's not for me. But it is for you. It's for all of us if we choose. And working with the goddess in all her different forms, across so many different ones, too many to even begin to mention, is such a beautiful way to call in feminine power and guidance, whether that be soft and gentle and loving, or whether it be powerful and fiery and even dark.
Oh, couldn't you just listen to Julie for hours? I feel like just pulling up a cushion and just sitting and just talk to us for hours.
You can come over for tea or stollies anytime. You bring the
That's
six-pack.
very 1998.
I'm up for it. I'm good.
Wow. And I love the work that you and Sora are doing together, and that there's so many more opportunities for all of us to learn from you guys, and it's just so powerful. And do you also see the amazingness in the fact that, you know what I was saying, was I saying it earlier or was I saying this backstage? I don't remember, but that the biggest thing, one of the biggest things I'd love for you to take away from this weekend is just really being you, and that being in, the spiritual industry or wellness industry or whatever your field is, that how amazing it is to completely embrace who you are. Isn't it amazing how Julie is so Even just what they're wearing today is so perfect for this conversation, I've got to say. But how amazing is it that Julie is so her, Sora is so her, and they get to collaborate together and really bring their own magic and their own, who they are in, and embracing the weirdness. And not that they're weird, that's not what I mean, but
we are.
Embrace the whole we are totally not the weirdest. But who you truly are, because you have a really significant role in this world. And if you're just trying to be someone, I really believe, and I'm sorry, I will stop swearing after this, but I really believe that the more that we try to fit in, the more that we fuck up our business. I really believe that, hands down. I know that one of the things that is really, that publishers and really everyone, all of our communities and audiences are looking for is what makes this. There's a million people out there talking about spirituality or goddesses or green juicing or whatever it is, but what makes you, what makes your take on it that little bit different? What makes the way that you share it? What makes the way that you present yourself? What makes the way, what's just that thing about you? And the chances are it's that thing in you that you aren't owning about yourself. Like what I was saying before about the reclaiming who you really are. Yes, you can be a soulpreneur, author and teacher and blast your speakers with Marilyn Manson. It's okay. It's totally okay. And that helps me bring a different kind of energy into what I teach than if I was trying to disown parts of myself that were like that. Or if Julie was trying to be one thing or Sora was trying to be one thing, instead of just embracing who they truly are, like how beautifully it works. And I just know that so many of us are just, including myself, the reason why I can teach about this is because it's a daily thing that I have to make. Like, am I doing this to fit in, or am I really, really just owning who I am? And the truth is that I don't believe that many of us actually fit in specifically to a particular label or style or whatever, like, because we are so unique to each other. And, like your soul doesn't like fit into this perfect little box and this perfect little label, and also that it will evolve and it will change. We might be in a situation in a year's time that Julie rocks up in some, fishnets and, all sorts of, who knows?
Can they be pink?
Maybe hot pink?
Hot pink?
Maybe. Anyway. So we will hopefully, we will have time to also ask some questions about in a minute as well. Before we do, I just would love for Sarah to share a little bit with us about connecting. So then there are some of us here might not necessarily connect deeply in with goddesses or angels, but we feel deeply, deeply connected with our animal kin. And I would really love Sarah to and we will also, I was going to say select, but we're not selecting. We will also draw the guiding animal card for the conference that we'll see who that's going to be, and you can explain a little bit more about that with us. But can you, cool.
So for me, I guess I've considered myself a spiritual person, but not in the sense that I know much about the angelic realms and connect to the goddesses and things that aren't tangibly available to me. I have a lot of earth signs in my astrology chart, so I feel like I'm just very, obviously down to earth, but also connected to the earth plane that I live in and that I'm experiencing this life in. And so I've always looked to nature to reconnect to myself and to my spirit, and have done so since I was a little girl, just unknowingly. It was just a natural state for me to be born into, and we all are. And, throughout my life, I was always drawn to working with animals. I wanted to be a ranger, I wanted to be a zoologist. There was a million things paths that I could have gone down, but I obviously didn't like going to university or studying or any of the kind of traditional things that, people working with animals would go to, I always knew that there was something different about the way that I would connect with them and work with them. I worked with rehabilitating native wildlife for a while. I've always volunteered, and that's sort of always my go-to thing for charitable work, is working with animals. And so, you know, it was only a natural thing for me to then go, well, I want to work with them in my own way and create, you know, a tangible product to connect with them. But also, when I was sort of building my brand, I was receiving a lot of messages from spirit animals or animal kin, animal messengers, and I've always known to kind of look to nature for messages for myself, to get to know myself more, for more clarity. And when you're in that searching mode, you know, you're wide open to receiving something and you want guidance, but you don't know who to call on, where it's coming from, and you haven't done that deep, you know, work and haven't found your, you know, soul family or whatever, your tribe that kind of guides you. And so for me, it was always animals that could do that, because I could, you know, see them. They would come into my life. I had this crazy journey with the peahen. Funnily enough, it's not an animal that, you know, I commonly would come across in my day-to-day life. But when I was starting during my motherhood journey, but also birthing and planting the seed for the fifth element life, I kept seeing peahens, which is the female peacock, and physically in my life. And that was sort of like a very significant sign to me. And so I would obviously dig into the meaning of that for myself. And, you know, they're basically like, you know, essentially like a chicken, like they're nurturing, they've got their little nest, and these ones were, the one in particular had started a nest and was sitting on her eggs, and she was just in my ex-partner's home. She just was stray and she came and built a nest when I was living there. And anyway, but it was all about nurturing myself, my family first, and allowing that kind of feminine energy to then weave through my business, which I did. I did a lot of like my inner work and a lot of my soul work before I did any action. And so I really got to know myself through the messages that I was receiving from nature. And, you know, there's been multiple different animals at certain times, and they do change. And so, you know, for me, I was obviously drawn to the peahen, and the peacock being the masculine version of that. So that's sort of, the peacock is my brand ambassador, if you will. So whenever I think of the fifth element life, it's the peacock energy, okay? So there's, you know, the eyes, the fan of beautiful feathers. Obviously, it's beautiful to look at. So I make physical products that are beautiful and colourful. But also a deeper awareness, you know, their eyes, it's like there's things searching everywhere, and it's an open kind of aware symbol. And so I always draw into and tap into that energy. It's just an easy thing for me to go, right, like sit into that peacock energy, and then in my personal life, sit into the peahen energy and just not worry about being on show, and just be myself and nurture my nest. And yeah, so I think that's a really beautiful way to look to things that you already know and you're familiar with, and that you connect with either by them showing themselves to you, or that you've always just naturally been drawn to, and then really tapping into the energy of that animal and researching yourself. Like, you know, Google is a great resource. You just can get in a bit of a rabbit hole to find what really resonates, the information that resonates for you. You just have to be open to receiving it, and yeah, nature's the best way to do that.
Yeah, and I love that what Sarah said once, I think at one of our Soulpreneurs circles, about how, and the coolest thing is that if you are someone that isn't necessarily clairvoyant and you can't necessarily see angels or guides or spirit guides, which is, you know, that I think that's most people that can't actually see that, that the animals are kind of like, they're right there, and they can make themselves really, really obvious to you. So just having an awareness, just having, you know, when you are having these experiences, and noticing particular animals at particular times, and also, you know, further into that as well, if that is one of the things that really calls to you with the animals, is if that is what calls to you, then exploring really everything to do with the elementals, the fairies, the mermaids, the really, okay, I'm going to accept that that's just the card of the, which is the horse, motivation. So so the horse is going to be our guide for the weekend.
But it's also wearing a floral crown. How?
Of course! That's awesome. Well, that's pretty obvious. You don't even really need to do a reading on that, do you?
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's a powerful animal, and they can be on a mission. You can, they're a workhorse essentially, so they do take a lot of action and they have a lot of endurance and all that kind of thing. But also such a powerful presence when you're in the presence of a horse, don't you think? Like, that's one of those animals that I know for me, I'm just like, you have to be, you're not scared, but it's kind of like, wow, you're here, They're very powerful. So I think it's, we can draw on that energy too, can't we? And just sort of take that on straight away by thinking of being in the presence of a horse.
Yeah. And then can you see how as soon as you start tapping into that, and then let's say that when you go and have lunch, that you walk into a cafe and there's a horse painting there or something like that. Straight away you're able to go, it's the soul of your business going,
Little nudge.
I got you. We got this. Let's do this. So it can be really, really powerful to do that. And Sarah's got lots of tools on her website that can help you dig into that further. And you might just notice feeling just different calls into... So last year I became head over heels obsessed and deeply in love with the fairies, who I'd always dabbled with for a few years. And last year, and this is the interesting thing, it was when I really dove headfirst in deep with my work with essential oils. And it just happened, it was just like this, I don't really know which one happened first. They just, and it was just, so powerful together, which of course then made sense because oils are like the little magic potions from the fairies. You put your prayer out to the fairy and the fairy goes and creates the oil and then gets delivered to you in a little bottle. And that's the magic, the little magic potion. And for our physical or spiritual challenges. So, if you really want to have a feel into, am I being called to work with the goddesses? Am I being called to work with the angels? Am I being called to work with the animals or the mermaids? Or, and what might that symbolize to you? So, and that might be to do with your actual work, your professional work, or it could be something philanthropic. If you're really called to mermaids right now, if you're really obsessed with mermaids, it could be calling you to do work with an organisation like Sea Shepherd, or, really being open to what it all could mean and just continuing to ask for more guidance on what that is. And but you'll notice it, just what you feel called to and what's maybe part of your next evolution, either personally, professionally, or philanthropically. We do have time for some questions.
Hi, thank you. My question is for Julie. First of all, thank you very much for being a great example of what it means to really tap into what is burning and true within you, and then to have the courage to follow that path, because I've followed you for some time now and I've watched your evolvement, and it takes a lot of courage. So that's really inspiring. Thank you. My question is, when you talk about the goddesses and you talk about working with them, what I'd like to understand better is, what does that look like? What is that relationship with them? How does that show up on an everyday basis?
It's a really wonderful question, and I think it deeply depends upon what it is that you most want to get out of working with a particular goddess, or a type of feeling or experience that you're attempting or wanting or desiring to call in. And it also includes the goddess themselves. So if I can just give you a couple of little examples. So if you are working through in your business, a business-related example where you are maybe feeling like you've got wobbly boundaries. People are coming at you all the time. You're not really sure how to say no. You're deeply struggling with, what directions you might need to go in. You feel leaky, a little bit all over the place. So you might like to call in some fire or warrior energy and work with a particular goddess around that. And so if you were going to do that, say with a goddess like the Nordic goddess Freya, you're not going to work with her, for example, with a gentle rose quartz crystal or a soft pink candle on your altar, or even lay it with pastel or soft colours. If you're going to call that energy in, you're calling in some fire, you're calling in some strength, you're calling in your warrior woman to be able to stand and shoulders back and really learn where you're a full-bodied soul yes and you're a full-bodied soul no. You're probably going to work with her outside, and you're going to choose crystals that are darker and stronger. You're going to think about creating an energy for yourself that's maybe related to even a little bit of fire. You might create a little fire for yourself, or even just lots and lots of candles to call that in. And so every goddess is a little bit different. If you're looking for more flow in your business or your life, you might choose a water goddess, and you're going to get down to the ocean, and you're going to get in the sea, and you're going to talk to her while you're in there and ask for that guidance while you're right with her where she's in her power. And it's really something that is just so dependent in so many different ways. You can sit with her in quiet, gentle contemplation. And one of my most favourite questions to ask any higher guide that I'm calling in is simply, what would you have me know?
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything that you would like to add on to that as well, Sora?
A little, 'cause you can't seem to get Julie and myself not together. To make it even to make the concepts, because it's so deep and rich, to break it down a little further in like Goddess 101 is, if we think about it as below, within, and above. So below us is Mother Earth, right? We are on this earthly plane. So when we feel into goddesses, there's so many beautiful stories. And these stories help us understand lessons. And so these lessons could help us walk this life in a lot more easeful, more reverent kind of way. So we can access the goddesses simply in that way, to learn more about different cultures, to learn about different ways of being. And then we can then move into this place of using the goddesses as an archetype, this internal way of learning the characteristics and the energies of each goddess, to either have it reflect back to us of the amazing qualities we already have in us, or the qualities that we really want to embody to help us shine and radiate even more. And so then we can use that energy to really infuse that in us so that we're more confident beings, so that we can really step into that. And then the goddesses could help us in the above plane, the more cosmic plane. They are those that can unlock the key to help you really tap in and channel and connect with your higher divine source of being to move through you. And so there's 3 ways and 3 layers, let's say, that you can use it, and there's so many more.
Amazing. Thanks, Sora. Other questions? So we have, there's quite a few. Sarah.
Hi. If there was one resource, Julie and Sora, you could recommend to start working with the goddesses, what would it be? If that's possible.
Yeah, it's absolutely possible. I would probably recommend a reference book or a guidebook. There's a wonderful book called The Goddess Guide, and it's by an amazing African-American high priestess called Brandy Auset. It's Brandy with an I, and her surname is spelt Auset. I also happen to have on my blog, which can be a link that I can give to Yvette or maybe share with everyone, my top 10 goddess books. And that's probably, for anyone that's called or really interested, that's a really great start. Some of them are so wonderful, like you can think, I want more creativity in your life. And that book, for example, you can open it up and it will show you all the goddesses that are deeply connected to creativity. And you can then begin to explore from there. And there are other really wonderful ones more about archetypes and different things as well. So that's a great, like a short resource that saves you a bit of time on the Google.
So, any other questions? Where were the other?
Hi. I don't really know how to approach this question, but how do you kind of sift through and work out who is actually your angel? If it's someone maybe you've lost that's really close to you, or is it just a present angel? Like, how can you sift through to work out who's actually guiding you?
Shunanda?
With a bit of practice and a little bit of trust and a little bit of faith, which is often the thing that we lack the most when we ask this question. I think that one of the things that's really important is that every single one of us has the ability to speak to our angels. You don't need to be religious, and you don't need to go see a psychic. We can all do it ourselves. And the thing that will really begin to open this doorway up for you is allowing yourself to believe and know and trust that if you ask the question, they will come to you and they will answer you. So a very simple exercise that you can do is to make a sacred space, take some quiet, light a candle and close your eyes and ask your angels to show themselves to you and really just to trust what you feel and what you see. And whatever you feel and whatever you see and whatever you hear, take some notes. And if you can do this regularly, you will begin to notice feelings that come through. And for some people, your messages may come through what comes into your body and the energies that you feel in your body, and having a deep, overwhelming sense of love that reminds you of your grandmother, and that you just know that she is with you. And you recall a smell as you're sitting there in that space, and you know that she's with you. And then for other people who might be more clairvoyant, as your eyes are closed, you may start to have colours come into your mind, or images of a particular angel or of a particular ascended master come to you. And it's really just allowing yourself to be really open and to get out of your own way about what you think you should be receiving and how psychic messages are meant to come through, because it's not like the movies. It's often really different, and we're not all clairvoyant, and my strongest gift isn't my clairvoyance. That's something that I had to really work on to develop. My strongest gift is what I feel. And once I embraced that, everything began to open up and the messages came through much more strongly. My angels speak to me through the emotions that they send through, and then that triggers messages coming through. And you will develop your own strength in the way that you receive messages from your angels, from people in spirit around you. It's just making the time to do it regularly.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I can see we've got lots more questions that we won't have time to get to, but what I would love to ask you all to share very briefly before the break is, how do you connect with the soul of your business? Because I'd love for you to all answer. We'll go in turn for everyone to answer. But one of the big intentions of this morning has been that I would love for you to really feel into your own path of spirituality, which obviously then relates into the soul of your business. But that, being a soulpreneur, in my view and my feel and how I see spirituality and my spiritual path and your spiritual paths, and the way that I've always encouraged our soulpreneurs in our school to explore their spirituality is, take what resonates, take what feels good. If something doesn't feel good, then it doesn't matter, And also, you don't need to be doing all of it. You don't need to go home and go, right, so I'm going to do this goddess stuff, and then there's angel stuff, and then there's animalkin stuff, and then there's... The intention of this morning was to just help you find something that feels good to you, that goes, oh, that makes sense to me. You know that how it feels when you connect in with something that is the truth for you. This isn't about a particular religion or a particular type of spirituality or anything like that, or a particular type of God or anything like that. So I really just encourage you to just find your own path with that and what feels comfortable for you and what feels good for you. Having said that, there will sometimes be, like Julie mentioned, some guides, some goddesses that you feel a bit triggered by. I actually don't want to work with that. I don't want to work with that guide for one reason or another. I think quite often it is because there's something in there. But you know the difference, hopefully, and if not, we can help support you in this, that the difference between something being like just a clear, oh, no, that's not for me, like maybe that it feels a bit just out of alignment with maybe how you were raised or how you see the world or your existing religious beliefs. If you feel that it really contradicts anything in that, then you don't need to touch it. There's so many other things that you can, work with. But yeah, and I think on our paths as soulpreneurs, we all do get to know, don't we? Is it just we're just wanting to step away from that because it's actually what we need, or is it actually because it's just not right for us? And that is all good. That is all good. So please share with us, because I'm sure that we all start our days differently, and this isn't necessarily about, your perfect morning practice or anything like that. It's just more, how do you, if you start feeling a little bit disconnected from the soul of your business, or if you're facing a big decision or a crossroads or an opportunity or just a big decision, how do you tune in to be able to hear the voice of the soul of your business? Or for you, it might be intuition. We can all call it different things, and it could mean different things to us. But I'd love for you to all share, starting with you, Julie.
For me, it's all about creating space. I can't feel into the soul of any part of myself, whether it's my life or my business, if I don't have space to be still and to connect with myself and to give myself the gift of time. And so slowing down, being intentional about spending time with myself and really feeling into what is right for me in that moment, or what I might even be calling in as the best or right for me in weeks or months to come. Yeah. So it's all about slowing down and creating space.
Yeah, beautiful. Who right now has a bit of an intention in their career or business that they want to slow down a little bit? Me, 100%. Yeah. I think that's a big part of the 2018 energy. Big time.
And it's not easy.
No.
It sounds like a really simple thing, but sometimes when you're busy and there's a lot to do, it can be really challenging, but those are always the times when you need to do it the most.
Yeah. And it's always that balance, isn't it, between having so many big dreams and visions, and especially when the soul of your business starts coming in thick and loud, and the creativity starts going wild. And it's that's going to be something that we'll definitely talk about throughout the weekend. Shunanda.
Flexibility is really important to me. I'm a single mum of 3 kids and I have 2 businesses. So I don't have the luxury of being able to start my day with a beautiful practice most days. And there was a real light bulb moment for me when I got out of my own way and said my spiritual practice can be really fluid and really flexible, and I can allow it to be completely imperfect, and I have to feel what I'm being guided to do each day, and not have really strict ideas of how it needs to look, and it needs to be strict and perfect. And if I get out of my own way and just let it be and let the energy pull me into my practice, I'm always guided in the exact perfect way if I can get out of my own way.
So nice. Sora?
Oh, it's so good. When I began to relate to my business as its own divine soul energy, when I breathed life into her and I asked her to be in relationship with me, and I learned how to align myself so I was in right relation with her, she was able to then have the permission to speak with me and through me. And it's by having that dialogue that gave me the space to know clearly what the next step was, or I would take some steps and she being like, no, 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 that's not it. Or she'll pull me in a direction. And so when I learned to do that, so much more started to really occur within my field.
So beautiful. Sarah?
For me, so yeah, I'm a single mum too. So my day would usually just start with my child who has crept into the bed overnight. And what I like to do, there's not really a ritual per se, because again, I'm very cyclical as well. One week I might be full of action, ready to go. Other weeks I'm like, I just need to sit and just like let it all, sink in. Is to try and hop in my vortex. So I'm an Abe Hicks fan, and so it's just trying to start my day in a state of appreciation. So I might just lay awake, and at the moment, because I've just become a school mum, I usually wake up before him, and I'll have a look at him while he's sleeping. The cat's usually ripping plants off my hanging plants down and scooting around the whole room. So I just kind of take in my environment and just have a couple of minutes of presence and just appreciating what I've created and what I have. And then that sort of sets the tone for the day for me. And one thing, when we saw Marianne Williamson, something she mentioned was goddess time and being able to switch from your masculine to your feminine energy. And so that was one massive lesson that I took on, especially working from home, is that you can literally walk from one room to another and not have enough time for transition from both energies. And so you take your masculine into your home, and that can affect so much of your personal life. So for me now, it's just being really conscious of allowing that transitional period in my day. So I don't work before Billy gets to school. That's when I drop him and I get home, that's when I step into that. And then the same when I pick him up, I might kind of be doing stuff, but it's nowhere near that level of attention that I would give my business normally. And then when I really want to work on creating something intentional with my business and working on the business, not in it, I will create a kind of ritual to go out into nature and do what it is there. So get out of my work environment and connect to myself through the elements, and also just changing the scenery and stimulating my senses differently as well. And I find that, I'm definitely in the zone, especially creatively, much more when I'm out of that environment. So that's another really important thing I do when I'm creating stuff for my business, yeah.
Amazing. So good, so good.